Hey ghouls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today's video is going to be a little bookshelf tour of all of my unread books that I have on my physical TBR. Now I hope this isn't going to be too much of a call out video to myself, but I thought this would be a really good video to film in January and then revisit next January. I'd like to think that I'm really good about purchasing books and then reading them in a decently okay span of time. I definitely don't feel too guilty about the amount of books that I own, but I would like to see, I'm curious how many books that I have on my bookshelves and how many books that I haven't read yet. So I'm gonna go through all of the books that I haven't read yet that I own. I do have one ask for you watching this video though. If you see a book that you think that I should prioritize, definitely leave it down below. Because while I definitely want to read all of these, and ideally the goal would be probably to finish most of them or the majority of them by the end of the year, but I would like to see, you know, the most popular books in the comments. I think I'll start reading those first and put more of a priority on those than the ones that people don't really talk about. So without further ado, let's just get into it and see all of the books that I own that I have not read yet. All right, so in true chaotic fashion, I have three main bookshelves in my home. No, they are not all together. They're not even in the same room, but this is the first bookshelf that I have, the one that I film in front of. And we'll just go ahead and jump into it. Starting up top, this is the book that I'm reading currently, The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I am in the process of it, but I haven't finished it yet. Moving on to the next shelf is one of my Stephen King shelves. Out of all of these books, the books that I have not read, I still need to read the Bachman books by Stephen King / Richard Bachman, and this includes Rage, The Long Walk, Roadwork, and The Running Man. I still need to read The Stand. It's really nicely nestled in there though, so I'm not gonna pull it out. No, it does not have a dust jacket. I found it for like $1 at a garage sale. So yeah, I like the look of it, but no, I have not read The Stand. Was gonna read it this year, but pandemic in real life happened, so I kind of tried to avoid reading about pandemics in fiction. Moving on, the rest of this shelf, I have not yet read The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King, Needful Things by Stephen King, The Last Castle Rock story. I don't think that's accurate anymore, but I like the conviction there. Dolores Claiborne by Stephen King, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. This is a short story collection. I want to say I have read a couple of the short stories, but not all of them. And the last book on this shelf that I haven't read yet, Christine. Moving on to my second shelf, I have actually read all of the books on this shelf, so go me. This is pretty much like my current favorite books at the moment, so I do have all of these books on here and I've read them, and that is kind of why they're in the background of my videos, is so that people can kind of look in the background and see my current favorite reads or the types of books that I like to read. So yeah. Now we are moving down to the third and final shelf on this bookshelf. I have read most of these again, so thank goodness. On this shelf, I have not read The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. I plan on reading that soon because I am reading The Bone Season right now. And I also still need to read The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. And now we're moving on to my second bookshelf. The bottom shelf of this has just like some nonfiction and some video games. But this is honestly where I keep most of my unread books, so buckle in, we're gonna have a lot of these. The first book on my TBR shelf is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. I'm hoping to get to this one in January, but it's the middle of January right now and I haven't started it, and it's 900 pages, so that's yet to be determined. White Ivy by Susie Yang, The Unwilling by Kelly Braffett, These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, The End of October by Lawrence Wright, Star Daughter by Shveta Thakrar, The Unraveling of Cassidy Holmes by Alyssa R. Sloan, and The Chestnut Man by Soren Sveistrup. A Dream About Lightning Bugs, A Life of Music and Cheap Lessons by Ben Folds, The Book of Dragons, a collection of short stories edited by Jonathan Strahan, Seven Devils by Laura Lamb and Elizabeth May, The Never Tilting World by Rinch Pecco, Isola by Brendan Fletcher and Carl Kerschel, Where They Found Her by Kimberly McCrate, and this is actually an advanced reader's edition, which is pretty cool. I found this at one of those little library boxes. Leave the World Behind by Rumin Alam. The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. Outlawed by Anna North. Gods of Jade and Shadow by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. And this very battered copy of Black House by Stephen King and Peter Straub, which I'm pretty sure is a part of a series, so I definitely can't get to this one until I learn more about the rest of the series. And the rest of the items on the shelf are like the boxes for my bullet journals and old bullet journals that I've had in the past. So there's a lot more books added to the total for my physical unread TBR. And then the last bookshelf that I have, that is downstairs by the media room. I'll start down here because that's the hardest angle. Those are like my Dan Brown books and my book of the month books, and those Animal Crossing signs my sister actually painted for me for my birthday, so pretty cute. I've read all the books on that shelf. Moving on to my second Stephen King shelf. First book on the shelf is Insomnia by Stephen King, and this whole shelf's gonna be Stephen King, so I'm not gonna keep repeating his name. And of course I take that back because the second book is by Richard Bachman, but that's technically Stephen King, but that's going to be Richard Bachman's The Regulators. Next up we have Desperation, Bag of Bones, which I can't remember if I've read or not. I know I've definitely seen the either movie or TV adaptation of it, and when I tried to read it last year, I felt deja vu, but I'm gonna be rereading this because I don't remember anything about it other than the basic premise, but I'm pretty sure I haven't read this one. Next up, we have Hearts in Atlantis, Everything's Eventual, 14 Dark Tales, Lissy's Story, Duma-Key, Under the Dome, Revival, and last and probably least as well, Finders Keepers, the second book in the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. And I say last and least because I really hated Mr. Mercedes. This cover's really, really cool, and I have heard the series gets better, so I might pick it up. I might not like it very much though. Moving on to my next shelf, I have read everything here except for that copy of The Stand, again, with no dust jacket. I actually got this for Christmas. My partner got it for me. It's a first edition, and they lied. They said it had a dust jacket, and it didn't come with a dust jacket. And now I feel like there's some supernatural conspiracy about The Stand and these little itty bitty versions. Did they even come with dust jackets? I need to know. Because I have 3 copies of The Stand now, and none of them came with dust jackets. I know they exist, but I don't want to buy a new copy. I want an old copy. Much to think about. All right, and now we have our final shelf to go through. And luckily, this is another shelf where I have read most of the books. First up, we have The Gunslinger, The Dark Tower #1 by Stephen King. The Drawing of the Three, the second book in the Dark Tower series. My partner's reading this series right now, so I won't read it until he does. I don't know why in my brain we can't read it at the same time, because we obviously can, but I just want him to read it first at his own pace, and then I will. And that's okay. I clearly have plenty of Stephen King books to read in the meantime while I'm waiting. And that's honestly the only unread books that I have on this shelf. Other than in this corner over here, we do have Batman Hush, Batman the Long Halloween, and then a Frank Miller Batman bind up. These are my partner's, and I am not too interested in reading them. He's a lot bigger into comics than I am, and he actually has his own sort of shelving organizational system for his comic books. These ones just fit really well here just because, especially this Frank Miller one, is a very pretty spine, and I feel like it matches really, really well with the rest of the horror that I have on the shelf. And that is the last shelf with unread books on it, so we are done. And that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Here's hoping when I revisit this next year, my owned TBR will be a little bit smaller, but we'll see. As always, if you enjoyed it, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, subscribe for more content from me, stay safe, stay spooky, and I'll see y'all on the other side. Bye!